a little bit of a comeuppance. Maryland Congressman Jamie Raskin serves as the ranking member on the Judiciary Committee, where he led yesterday's grilling of Kristi Noem, and he joins me now. First, Congressman, your reaction to the news.
Well, there's a little bit of exhilaration and satisfaction that we were able to move things in this way. Of course, none of it brings back Renee Good or Alex Preddy, and she's done profound damage that we still need to be working on. I mean, there have been dozens of injuries and deaths under her leadership of ICE, and we need to turn that situation around. I mean, it is a clear and present danger to the lives of a lot of people who are being swept up in their dragnet policies, but also $220 million for a PR ad contract. When I first saw it, Chris, I thought it was $220,000, which sounds like the kind of ad, PR contracts I've heard about before. Even that one's pretty handsome. But $220 million, like.
Hear me out. Your belief system is your belief system. The language that you use can be intentionally harsh to cut through. I mean, I've even heard you say that.
Would mean that Hezbollah's retaliation could reach, once again, cities as far south as Ashdod, that the confrontation wouldn't be limited to the north. Now, in the meantime, despite this support in the public for a return to war, the discussions in the Israeli media are about what the Israeli army is facing and what it can and cannot do. Have a listen.
For Israel, keeping the blockade is preferable to reaching any deal with Iran.
Soldiers currently deployed in southern Lebanon have been instructed to designate one member of each unit specifically to scan the skies. Upon spotting a drone, that soldier is to attempt to intercept it using his rifle.
Military intelligence estimates put Hezbollah's stockpile at thousands of suicide drones, capable of hitting Israeli forces. And there's growing talk inside the military that regular army divisions are wrapping up their mission in Lebanon and heading to Gaza, possibly setting the stage for a fresh offensive operations there.
So these kinds of discussions, the operational difficulties, the fact that Hezbollah is still quite capable of causing a lot of damage, especially among Israeli soldiers, offers the Israeli government with a big dilemma, especially given the fact that returning to war is not an option in the hands of Netanyahu, but Donald Trump. And this is something that is hard to admit for the Israeli Prime Minister, Mohammed.
All right, that's Noor Odeh live for us near Ramallah in the occupied West Bank, and Malcolm Webb reporting live for us from Beirut. Thank you both so much. Israeli forces have carried out an attack in central Gaza despite a ceasefire being in place. A drone strike hit Deir al-Balah, injuring 6 people. The attack happened close to Al-Aqsa Hospital. In the last day, 2 people have been killed in the Strip. More than 800 Palestinians have been killed in Gaza since the ceasefire came into force. And Al-Khudri has the latest from Gaza City.
Well, there has been an increase indeed in the past couple weeks, actually. Yesterday, there was an Israeli strike that killed a paramedic. Before, there was another strike that killed police officers. So we're seeing this on a daily basis now for the past week. And not only the group of people who were injured beside Al-Aqsa Hospital after a drone attack, the Israeli forces naval ships also injured a fisherman who was trying to fish inside the sea. So daily violations, daily breaches, and there's no place safe across of the Gaza Strip because we have been seeing a series of attacks in the past couple of days in different areas, in the north, in the south, in the central area, and also in the Gaza City. So despite ceasefire, despite the agreement, the attacks on the Gaza Strip continues. According to the Gaza Media Office, they're saying that at least 1,000 violations occurred since October 2025, since the ceasefire started, and at least 823 Palestinians were killed.
The Israeli army has intercepted vessels from an aid flotilla heading to Gaza. Activists say the military illegally surrounded their vessels in international waters using frigates and warships. Israeli media is reporting 7 out of 58 vessels from the global Sumud flotilla have been seized. Activists are trying to deliver aid to Gaza in defiance of Israel's blockade. This is their second attempt after Israeli forces blocked a mission last year. Gur Sabar is a press officer for the global Sumud flotilla. He says Israel's assault on humanitarian vessels is illegal under international law.
This is just a straight-up attack on civilians in international waters, unarmed civilian boats, hundreds of miles from Israel, are being surrounded and threatened at gunpoint. That's not security, it's the use of military force against civilians in international waters. This is illegal under international law. Israel has no jurisdiction in these waters. Intercepting or boarding these vessels would amount to illegal detention, potentially kidnapping on the high seas. So it's critical that all governments act now. Every government has an obligation to protect the over 400 civilians on board and uphold international law. Silence in this moment is absolute complicity. There needs to be immediate intervention to ensure the flotilla's safety and to ensure we can continue to open the humanitarian corridor to Gaza. It's important to remember these are civilians stepping in where governments have failed. We have boats, some are super small, some are slightly larger, that are bringing some aid. But the idea here is to open up a humanitarian corridor to Gaza, to break Israel's illegal siege on Gaza and on Gaza's shoreline.
In the occupied West Bank, Israel has approved the construction of new housing units. The 126 units will be constructed in the re-established illegal settlement of Sanur in the north. That's near the city of Jenin. Last week, Israeli settlers re-inhabited the area after receiving authorization for the re-establishment last year. Sanur was one of the 4 illegal Israeli settlements that was evacuated in 2005. This happened under the Gaza disengagement plan, where 21 illegal settlements were vacated from Gaza and 4 from the occupied West Bank. Mali is holding a funeral for its former defense minister, Sadio Kamara, who was killed in a rebel attack on Saturday. Kamara died in his residence when it was targeted in Kati, a garrison town near the capital Bamako that houses several senior military officials. The attack was one of a series on several towns across Mali, launched by Tuareg rebels and fighters linked to Al-Qaeda. Nicholas Hawk is following the story for us from Dakar in neighboring Senegal. Nick, good to see you. Let me ask you, why is the killing of Mali's defense minister such a significant blow to the military government?
Well, Mohammed, the killing of this defense minister, Sadio Kamara, is a blow because it undermines the junta's narrative that they are in control. He is a key architect of Mali's security apparatus. He's the man that removed both the UN peacekeeping force, there were 12,000 in the country, and the 5,000 soldiers, the French soldiers that were operating throughout the Sahel, and replaced them with a few thousand Russian mercenaries. And so his death and the circumstances of his death, being killed in the heart of the garrison town of Kati, the military headquarters, which is supposed to be the safest location, well, that has really caused shock and surprise and fear among many, because if he can be killed in that way, then many Malians fear they can be killed in that way. During this funeral, we saw Assimi Goïta touching the coffin of Sadio Kamara, and in his shadow, Russian mercenaries keeping a close watch. Why? Well, because despite this show of unity around this funeral, well, there are disgruntled officers within the ranks. How could this attack happen? How was this not prevented? What were the intelligence failures that took place? Questions that many soldiers or officers are whispering in barracks whilst this ceremony is taking place. Mohammed?
Nick, let me ask you, without the Minister of Defense, how weakened is Mali's chain of command at such a crucial moment?
Well, the way that the military of command works in Mali, it's a very much, Mohammed, a top-down approach. So when you have Sadio Camara, the second in charge of the country, the most senior figure of the military operation, killed, that is a serious blow in the security apparatus. And we've seen it just today. Whilst there was a funeral taking place of Sadio Camara, Al-Qaeda fighters linked to Jamaat Nusrat al-Islam wal Muslimin took over military Malian camps in the town of Hombori, which is about 1,000 kilometers outside of Bamako. There are key camps that were in control of the Malian forces, where we've seen Malian soldiers surrender, not even putting up a fight, dropping their weapons and walking out of military camps. And that is a serious blow to the morale of the military. And that's going to be one of the main tasks of Assimi Goïta, to try to unite the military under his command. Mohammed?
Nick, more to the point that you're making, I want to ask you a little bit about that. I mean, how long realistically can Malian forces hold out if Al-Qaeda-linked fighters maintain this blockade on Bamako?
Okay, so the reality, Mohammed, is there's a large swath of land that the Malian forces, the Malian government has lost control over, especially in Kidal. But there are pockets of places where the Malians are still in charge. But when we talk about Bamako, the capital, well, they have the support of the population. Most Malians that you speak to, in the capital, Bamako, well, they support the armed forces. They don't want to see Al-Qaeda fighters invading the capital, and they still hold key infrastructures in and surrounding the capital. Those are still in the hands of the Malian authorities. However, it seems that these fighters, these Al-Qaeda fighters, are prepared to play, Mohammed, what we call a long game. They have, in the past, operated a blockade surrounding Bamako, choking it from fuel and basic necessities. Now, this time, the blockade appears to be even more severe, which means that people who live inside the city of 3 to 4 million people cannot leave, go outside of the capital, nor can there be any goods coming inside. And so there is a wave of panic inside the capital, Bamako. Now, the Malian authorities are heavily leaning on Moscow for help. They've turned their back on the regional body, ECOWAS, on the UN, on the West. And so their structure of command to try to target this is using Russian mercenaries, but also Turkish drones to pound at positions belonging to Tuareg separatists or Al-Qaeda fighters. And we've seen this yesterday in the town of Kidal, that they had lost. Well, there was a drone strike over the camp that they had just lost days ago. So what we are expected to see in the days to come, Mohammed, is more attacks and more uncertainty for the people in Mali.
All right, that's
Mohammed.
Al Jazeera's Nicholas Hawk live for us from Dakar. Nick, thanks so much for all your reporting. This is Al Jazeera, and here's a reminder of our top stories this hour. Iran's Supreme Leader Mojtaba Khamenei has released a written statement amid growing uncertainty about the future of the U.S.-Iran war. He says Tehran will secure the Gulf region and eliminate, quote, the enemy's abuses of the waterway. U.S. President Donald Trump has warned a naval blockade on Iran's ports could last for months. He's calling on Tehran to accept a deal and, in his words, give up. Trump said any agreement to end the conflict must guarantee Iran never acquires a nuclear weapon. Oil prices have surged to 4-year highs, hitting $120 a barrel as the standoff over the Strait of Hormuz drags on. Europe's benchmark has climbed for an 8th straight day. In the United States, gas prices now average over $4.22 a gallon. The crisis in the Strait of Hormuz is fast becoming a political liability at home for Donald Trump. As the war with Iran pushes up energy prices and fuels economic anxiety, new polls suggest the president is facing growing public frustration. Phil Lavelle reports from the Republican stronghold of Pasco County in Florida.
The votes poured in for President Trump here in Pasco County, Florida, back in 2024. 18 months later, is that love still felt to the same degree? Well, the jury is out.
Lower taxes, make gas cheaper, and all this other bullshit. He ain't done none of it.
Everybody just needs to work together, not against each other.
I'm not for the stuff that's going on, but it is what it is.
For President Trump, the political cost of the war in Iran is getting harder to ignore. Energy prices have been soaring, driving up costs, squeezing household budgets. And that is not just here in Florida, which coincidentally is President Trump's home state, but across America. The White House being blamed for those historic low approval ratings of the president when it comes to the economy. Just take a look at these numbers. Last month, his approval dropped to 27%. That is lower than at any time during his first administration. His overall approval among voters dropping from 56% when he re-entered the Oval Office last year to now around 45%. And it's even worse at Fox, his favorite network, which says only 42% of voters are happy with him. It was seen as one of President Trump's strong points during the election campaign. Remember this.
Groceries, cars, everything. We're going to get the prices down.
But now it is that same issue, the money in people's pockets, those everyday costs that are hitting Americans. Groceries, healthcare and housing, the top concerns, and of course, gas prices. Because that is a big barometer in car-loving America. Not just petrol at the pump, but fuel up there too. Flight prices are through the roof because of a shortage of jet fuel due to the blockade of the Strait of Hormuz. Schools finish for summer in the next few weeks. The rising costs mean fewer holidays and more staycations. More than 3/4 of registered voters hold the president responsible. More than half of Republicans, his own supporters, do too. And crucially, 82% of independents, who make up nearly half of the electorate now. I say crucial because there are important elections in November, the midterms, and many House Republicans are worried that they're going to lose their jobs because voters blame them for the economy, not the president.
Take all the people out of Congress and the Senate that aren't doing what they need to do and let them go ahead and figure out how they're going to pay for their medical care.
Do you think it would affect your vote? What's happening with it?
No, I don't think so. I think it's just a sign of the times and how things roll.
There is perhaps some good news for the president, some green shoots of positivity. Support for the war is up, but it is a tiny uptick. 45% of Americans support military force against Iran, up from 42% in March. And we still have 6 months to go until the midterms. Will the war be over by then? Will gas prices have come back down? Will the polls look better for the president? You know, a lot can happen between now and then, and it very likely will.
Abbas Aslani is a senior research fellow at the Center for Middle East Strategic Studies, and he joins us now live from Tehran. Abbas, thanks for being with us here on Al Jazeera. I want to ask you, based on the latest statement that we heard from Iran's Supreme Leader Mojtaba Khamenei, and looking also at what President Trump has said about potentially prolonging the U.S. naval blockade on Iranian ports, where do you think that leaves the prospect of further diplomatic efforts at this stage?
Mohammed, the Strait of Hormuz has been among the core issues or demands by Iranian side at the negotiating table. Tehran insists that a new geopolitical situation has been born, and the Strait of Hormuz and the new status quo cannot go back to what existed before the aggression. And the Iranian leader, in his statement, he tried to use the terms like new chapter, a new management, where it seems that he wanted to assert the new operational status of the waterway. And this shows us a departure in the Iranian side from the threatening to close the strait to a new era where, you know, they are talking about governing the waterway. And this is quite significant. He tried to, stress the regulations that need to be adopted in the Strait of Hormuz. And some might, have the take or perception that Iran was using the Strait of Hormuz as a negotiating card. But what was said today by the Iranian leader indicates that this is among the core demands that Iran will stick to it in case of any negotiations. And this is considered as a kind of strategic asset by the country, whereby they can, control the security in the southern coasts of Iran and in the region by trying to somehow monitor the traffics there, because much of U.S. military buildup also was carried out through the sea. And in addition to that, he also said that the hearts of the Iranian nation could be happy with the economic benefits. This also gives us a reference to the fees Iran can get from those vessels transiting from that waterway for providing services like, providing security. And this indicates that, Iran will stick to this strategic asset. And the U.S. might be pressuring the country by naval blockade, but Iran didn't, concede under military campaign, and it is not expected to do so under economic pressure or political negotiations.
Abbas, you're talking about the Strait of Hormuz. Obviously, that is essentially the main sticking point in the deadlock between Iran and the U.S. right now. I want to ask you, other than lifting the naval blockade on Iranian ports, is there anything else that the U.S. could do that might satisfy Iranian officials and make them feel it was worth their while once more to resume talks with the U.S.? Is there anything else the U.S. could do that would push them more in that direction?
In order to convene for a potential second round between Iran and the United States, what Tehran has been demanding is the lifting of the naval blockade. So it seems that at the moment it can suffice to push the two sides to come together at the table, but not necessarily to be able to clinch an accord when they sit, together. But it seems that, sticking points between the two sides are yet in place. That's why Tehran came up with a new idea of putting aside the nuclear matter for the moment and to address and to focus on the most immediate challenges that that matters to the both sides. That is the ending the hostilities, as well as to reopen the Strait of Hormuz. But so far we have been seeing that the United States have been trying to create leverage by implementing the naval blockade. Iran says that this creates the hesitation back in Tehran that they can somehow be doubtful that the U.S. is genuinely seeking an agreement, or if they want to open a new, let's say, window for an exit from this deadlock situation, this can further complicate the situation maybe by closing that window. So, additional issues like the nuclear matter are also on the table, as well as the lifting of the sanctions. But it seems that, they can find likely a middle ground on immediate issues like the Strait of Hormuz, as well as ending the war.
Abbas, you're talking about Iran recognizing the strategic asset, the strategic importance of the Strait of Hormuz as an asset as far as gaining leverage when it comes to negotiations. You're talking about both sides trying to figure out what their leverage is going forward in negotiations. I want to ask you if Iran is perhaps using the war to permanently rewrite the rules of international shipping in the Gulf going forward.
Mohammed, Iran is saying that it is not intending to rewrite the rules, but they are resorting to an argument which deals about the safe passage through the strait. And they say that, this waterway, which according to the Iranian national rules or some international rules dealing with the conventions related to the passage of the vessels through the sea, can be adopted in a way that Iran and the Omanis sharing the waterway, and they can somehow control it in a way that stop any future aggression against the country, and this can bring stability to the region, not just to Iran, and this can work as a guarantor of any ceasefire, which at the moment seems to be a very fragile one. and this was not the case before the war. What is unfolding comes as a result of the recent aggression against the country, and Iran sees itself with no choice but to somehow adopt new protocols, and abandoning that strategic asset could have existential risks for the country, and that's why Iran is sticking to that strategic asset in order to make sure that they end the current hostility and make sure that they can remove the shadow of the war from above the country.
All right. Abbas Aslani is a senior research fellow at the Center for Middle East Strategic Studies. He was joining us there live from Tehran. Abbas, thanks so much for being with us here on Al Jazeera. Great to get your perspective. Pacific Island nations are being hit hard by the restrictions in the Strait of Hormuz. They're facing three converging emergencies: fuel uncertainty, climate change, and a deepening affordability crisis. Despite their small contribution to global carbon emissions, island nations are among the most fossil fuel-dependent economies in the world. Tuvalu has warned that fuel reserves may only last until June. Fuel scarcity for fishing boats there has sent food costs soaring. In Papua New Guinea, boats transporting remote communities to medical centers for life-saving treatment are no longer financially viable. The Marshall Islands have declared a 90-day economic emergency, and the crisis has led to the activation of a special agreement among Pacific Island leaders to coordinate a response to a regional crisis. The Hormuz crisis is pushing many countries to fast-track their move away from oil and gas. In Colombia, representatives from nearly 60 countries have met for the first global conference focused on phasing out fossil fuels. Alessandro Rampietti reports from the capital, Bogota.
As delegates arrived for a conference focused on phasing out fossil fuels, hundreds of protesters marched through the coastal Colombian city of Santa Marta, calling for an end to oil exploration and fracking. They're demanding fossil fuel producers pay up.
Governments need to scale up public climate finance to make sure that these polluters pay.
The conference comes after years of frustration with UN climate negotiations, where progress on phasing out coal, oil and gas has repeatedly stalled, and is taking place against the backdrop of the United States and Israel's war in Iran. Disruptions to global supply, including through key routes like the Strait of Hormuz, have pushed some countries to rethink their dependence on fossil fuels.
How important it is.
Host Colombia, a major coal producer, and the Netherlands, the birthplace of oil giants Shell, say the urgency is clear. The transition is no longer a question of if, but how.
We must transition away from fossil fuels, not just because it's good for climate, but because it also strengthens our energy independence and our energy security.
Among those attending are producers like Canada and Australia, oil giants from Nigeria to Brazil, and vulnerable island states. But major polluters, including China and the United States, are not here.
The fight against the climate crisis is a political and social struggle, not only a scientific one, though it is that as well. Every time a challenge is taken on, a highly organized social and political resistance to power emerges.
The talks in Santa Marta also highlight a deeper challenge. While renewable energy is often cheaper to produce, the cost of transitioning remains high, especially for developing countries facing debt and high borrowing costs. Still, countries here agreed to keep the process going, announcing the next conference will be held in the Pacific Island nation of Tuvalu, and backing a new global panel to create a roadmap to steer the world away from fossil fuels. Alessandro Rampietti, Al Jazeera, Bogotá.
Protesters have marched in South Africa, urging the government to carry out mass deportations of undocumented immigrants. Anti-migrant sentiment has been rising, fueling tension between locals and foreign nationals. The president has warned the public against scapegoating fellow Africans. Famida Miller has more.
This is just one of several demonstrations in recent weeks targeting migrants in South Africa. Thousands of people in Durban, Pretoria, and now Johannesburg say they want more government action to tackle what they say is illegal immigration. Critics say groups like this are simply xenophobic.
anyone just wakes up in the morning and decides that they're having problems in their own country, oh, let me look for greener pastures, and it's South Africa. And if we don't say anything about it, or if we say something about it, we're told that it's black people. This is not a skin color thing. It's about us protecting our country, which is a sovereign state. We love our African brothers and sisters, but it's time now that they also fix their own countries for their own children and their own future.
We're making it very clear to you guys, Utitina, we don't want you here.
In this video widely shared on social media, a man from Ghana is told to go home to fix his country. The Ghanaian High Commission has advised its nationals to close their businesses and keep a low profile, while Nigerian authorities have told citizens to remain indoors. People assembled here blame foreigners for taking their jobs and high levels of crime. In the capital, Pretoria, hundreds of demonstrators demanded action from the government.
It's a legitimate concern being hijacked and used to taint us as a people of South Africa who do not want to live with other people. Because that would not be correct, because that's not who we are.
South African President Cyril Ramaphosa says the concerns should not lead to xenophobia. He says the government is clamping down on illegal migration and rooting out corruption in the immigration system. The United Nations has condemned the attacks. This is not the first time such protests are seen in South Africa. There were large outbreaks of violence against foreign nationals in 2008, 2015 and 2019. And the same sentiments are being repeated now.
We are saying our borders must be properly managed. And all these people who are undocumented, they need to be sent back to their countries.
Why do they have to come here and have free education, free health care, and while they're telling us that we are xenophobic?
Tensions are rising as more protests are planned. Famida Mala, Al Jazeera.
Myanmar's coup chief turned president has reduced the sentences of the country's prisoners by 1/6. Former civilian leader Aung San Suu Kyi is among the thousands of prisoners set to have their sentences shortened. The military toppled Suu Kyi's elected government 5 years ago, detaining her on a host of charges. The decision to reduce prison sentences is part of a traditional New Year amnesty each April. It includes releasing more than 4,000 prisoners. Argentina's President Javier Milei is pushing for new talks with the UK on its long-standing sovereignty claim over the Falkland Islands, known locally as Las Malvinas. The two countries fought a war in 1982 after Argentina's then military government invaded the British-dependent island. But a recent Pentagon leak has revived Argentina's claim, with President Trump saying the U.S. may re-examine its stance. Teresa Bo reports from Buenos Aires.
It's a replica of the Darwin Cemetery located thousands of kilometers away in the Falklands, or the Malvinas Islands, as the Argentines call them. The place where Argentine soldiers were laid to rest after the war between Argentina and the United Kingdom in 1982. But even though Argentina lost the war, the claim over the sovereignty of the islands in the southern Atlantic remains. Rodolfo Reinaldo Gruber was a soldier back then.
The war had no sense. We were under military rule and they used it as a shield to cover what was happening in the country. We are still living with the consequences.
A recent leak from the Pentagon has given the government of Javier Milei some hope. In the documents, a high-ranking U.S. official suggested the Trump administration was reviewing policy towards the islands as reprisal for the British lack of support in the war against Iran.
Argentina's government is now calling for renewed negotiations with the UK, saying that it wants a peaceful solution to the sovereignty dispute. But the UK said that there's no need for any negotiations, as the inhabitants of the islands have a right to self-determination. The Malvinas, as the islands are known in Argentina, continue to stir strong emotions in this country. And at times of when President Javier Milei's approval ratings are plummeting because of high inflation and some corruption scandals, the islands can become a rallying cry in times of political strain.
649 Argentine soldiers and 255 British soldiers were killed during the war. In 2013, the islanders voted in a referendum to remain under British rule. But that did not change Argentina's stance.
I want to reaffirm our right to full sovereignty over the Malvinas Islands.
Jorge Tayana doubts any U.S. shift will lead to talks.
What's happening reminds me of the era during the dictatorship. They also thought the U.S. was going to help Argentina during the war because they were doing the dirty work against left-wing guerrillas in Latin America. That proved to be wrong.
The possibility of talks still look distant, but many here wonder if tensions over the war in Iran could reopen what for many has been a lost cause. Teresa Bo, Al Jazeera, Buenos Aires.
The United Kingdom has passed a law making it illegal to sell tobacco to anyone born or after the 1st of January 2009. The government says it will help create what it calls a smoke-free generation. It's only the second country in the world to pass a law of this kind. Camille Nedelec has more from London.
These children are the smokeless generation. They will never be able to legally buy a cigarette in the UK after the British government passed a law making it illegal to sell tobacco to anyone born on or after January 1st, 2009. A law that is too late to help people like Sue. She survived cancer of the voice box 3 times. Her doctors blamed her smoking.
I started as an 11-year-old. You know, it would have meant that I couldn't get access to cigarettes at all. I just wouldn't be able to buy them. So, yeah, it would have saved me, given my family the news that I had cancer, if this law had been in when I was 11.
More than 78,000 people die from smoking-related illnesses in England alone each year. And official data shows that every year, on average, more than 400,000 people go to hospital from illnesses caused by smoking. The impact is also financial. England's smoking habit costs the country more than $59 billion annually, from loss of productivity to health and social care costs. The British government has said the new smoking ban is the biggest public health intervention in a generation, and it will save lives. It also targets vaping, giving the government new powers to control how vaping is marketed and sold, including flavours and packaging, to make it less attractive. But despite this historic ban, NGO Action on Smoking and Health says the government shouldn't stop there.
We need the government to take forward all of those powers and action them. But we also need the government to do more for the 5 million people in this country that are still smoking. The bill is really great at protecting the next generation, but we've got to maintain investment and support, particularly for disadvantaged groups that continue to smoke.
A recent YouGov survey suggests most people support a widespread smoking ban, though some younger Britons say the government is overstepping.
It's my body. If I want to smoke, I can smoke. If I want to drink, I can drink. I know the damages towards it because even on the packets where they sell it, they have very vivid and very explicit images on it, but that's still my choice whether to get it or not.
The new smoking and vaping regulations will come into force in January 2027. Camille Nedelec, Al Jazeera, Westminster, London.
The Kenyan long-distance runner who made history at the London Marathon has returned home to a hero's welcome. 30-year-old Sebastian Sawe became the first person to run an official marathon in under 2 hours, shattering the previous world record by more than a minute. Catherine Soy was at the airport in Nairobi when he arrived.
So much excitement here at the airport in Nairobi. People have come to celebrate Sebastian Sawe. Earlier we were at the runway when he's arriving. There was so much excitement. We've been speaking to Kenyans, many of them saying that they did not know Sawe, but they have watched some of the snippets of the race, and they say that they are so proud of what he has achieved.
This encourages runners like me to work hard to achieve what he has achieved and maybe do better.
It was unique in a sense that Sebastian was leading basically throughout. He followed the pacemakers for 27K, And then from there, he took control of the race, pushing the pace with a lot of courage, a lot of determination.
So who is this man, Sawe? He joined professional running in 2017, but he's always been running since he was a child. He did a marathon in 2024. A lot of people said that he had so much potential, but then he also had a lot of challenges, especially during the COVID season, where he said that he almost gave up, but here he is.
I didn't expect this victory. I'm thankful. What we achieved in London was a team effort.
But it's also important to celebrate Yomif Kejalcha from Ethiopia, who came second. It was his first marathon, both runners doing what they know best. Catherine Soy, Al Jazeera, Nairobi.
My colleague Rob Matheson will be back with more of our continuing coverage of all the latest developments out of the U.S., Iran, and Lebanon in just a moment. So stay with us here on Al Jazeera.
This is America, where people are growing restless for the conflict with Iran to come to an end.
It'd be very difficult for the Iranians to actually enforce the closure of the Strait of Hormuz.
But they've just enforced it.
No, not really.
They opened fire on ships, so ships had to turn back.
This is the Constitution. The rules are in black and white. Whether they'll be followed to the letter and the spirit, well, that is another matter.
This is America, every weekday on Al Jazeera.
Hard-hitting interviews.
Aren't you afraid that you might be one of the targets?
Anyone could become a target. We have seen that they have no hesitation about targeting any place.
Facing realities.
Does Qatar still trust Iran enough to mediate?
Let's say that this aggression brings a benefit for no one.
Thought-provoking answers.
How many have been displaced inside Iran?
I've heard 3 million. It could be more.
Hear their story on Talk to Al Jazeera.
At this site, we see the family members, the friends of those workers, waiting anxiously for news. We even see them clutching their stomachs. The volcano has been erupting consistently since December. And as you can see now, it's erupting again. You can see the thick grey smoke coming from the volcano, and we can also hear this steady, loud grumbling.
Hello, I'm Rob Matheson. This is Al Jazeera, live from Doha with the latest developments out of the US, Iran and Lebanon. Coming up this hour, Iran's Supreme Leader Mojtaba Khamenei says in a statement that the US naval blockade on its ports is doomed to fail. Oil prices hit a 4-year high after President Donald Trump's warning that the blockade on Iranian ports could last for months. President Trump's urging Iran to give up and accept a deal that ensures it will never have a nuclear weapon. And we're in Somalia, where the conflict in the Middle East is pushing up food and fuel prices.
The cost of many products in this supermarket have gone up. Take an example of cooking oil. It's now $10. A month ago, it was $6. Everyone is feeling the pinch.
Iran's Supreme Leader Ayatollah Mojtaba Khamenei has issued a statement about the US-Israeli conflict. It says a new chapter for the Gulf and the Strait of Hormuz is taking shape, adding Tehran is going to secure the Gulf region and eliminate the, quote, enemy's abuses of the waterway. And this comes after US President Donald Trump warned that a naval blockade on Iran's ports could last for months. He's calling on Tehran to accept a deal and, in his words, give up. Oil prices, meanwhile, have surged to 4-year highs, hitting $120 a barrel. Europe's benchmark price has climbed for an 8th straight day, rising more than 8% on Wednesday alone. In the United States, gas prices now average more than $1 a litre. Now, we're going to be live in Washington, D.C. and in Tehran. First of all, we're going to go to Amigdad Al-Ruhayd, who's in the Iranian capital. A strongly worded statement in the name of the Supreme Leader. Talk to us about the diplomatic efforts that are going on.
Yes, it's a very strong worded today from the Supreme Leader, and it's like a coordinated message from different levels, of the diplomatic part, and also from the different levels of the leadership here. If we speak about the diplomatic efforts, it's very clear that in the past few days, that Abbas Araqchi, the foreign minister, have been engaging in a regional tour, starting from Pakistan, then Oman, and then heading to Russia. And in the past few hours, he spoke to Switzerland. We know that there is many different efforts indirectly that seems to be indirectly messaging and keeping consolidate their presence and consolidate their messaging here between the mediators and between the regional actors. The diplomatic effort is ongoing, but indirectly, and it seems like there is a huge gap between the demands from Iran and also from United States. But the diplomatic effort is still ongoing here from the Iranian officials when it comes to the top diplomatic person, Abbas Araqchi, and also from other leadership levels here from Masoud Pezeshkian. He have been engaging in calls with Japanese foreign minister, emphasize the same message and the clear message over the sovereignty of the Strait of Hormuz, and also the new phase of the Strait of Hormuz.
I want to bring in Alan, Al Jazeera's chief U.S. correspondent, Alan Fisher, who's at the White House. What is the latest from the White House on all of this in the face of these statements that we've been getting, admittedly, of course, just in the last hour from the Supreme Leader?
Obviously, no immediate reaction to those comments. We might expect something in the coming hours. What we do know is that Donald Trump has a briefing today, apparently, and it's being reported here that he'll be given military options for what happens next. Now, this isn't terribly unusual. The military constantly keeps reviewing and renewing its plans. Clearly, one thing that is being discussed is the possibility of new strikes on Iran to force them to talk about the nuclear issue. They could be something short and concentrated and certainly very targeted. They also have to talk about how they deal with the issue of the Strait of Hormuz. But Donald Trump made it very clear when he was speaking at the White House on Wednesday that he sees the blockade as something that is putting extreme pressure on Iran. He's talked about how he believes it costs them somewhere in the region of $500 million a day. And he thinks that that is putting pressure on them to come to the table and to discuss the nuclear issue. He's effectively dismissed the idea that there could be further discussions without talking about the nuclear issue. It is his #1 priority. It is his red line. It is why the Americans left Islamabad when there were discussions before. They said that the nuclear deal just simply wasn't enough. So discussions on what happens next, but Donald Trump has expressed the idea that this blockade is working. He thinks Iran is struggling to store the oil. He says there's the danger it could explode. Now, I spoke to an expert last night and he doesn't know where the president may be getting that idea from. But there is the potential that he could start with a military option to try and either end the war with one last burst or force the Iranians to the negotiating table.
OK, let's go back to Tehran. Al-Migdad, how is the blockade affecting Iranians, given the pressure that Alan's been talking about from the US?
Yeah, the blockade is definitely affecting the Iranian ports, the exports and imports. For the past few days and weeks, we know that there is a strong message here coming from different leadership levels, consolidating the control of the Strait of Hormuz, and also it seems like a coordinated message that they are having the rights, having a new phase here in the Strait of Hormuz, and also they are trying to say that this blockade, if you block us from the Strait of from the Iranian ports, we block any ships or any vessels linking to United States and Israel. In economic measures, yes, there's consequences. measures over this blockade. But on the military measures, the Iranians here, the IRGC Navy saying that we are controlling this most strategic choke point, and there is a new phase right now. You have to come to the table and negotiate about the new phase, and this is coordinated with what the Supreme Leader speak about in the past few hours, and also coordinated with different level of the leadership. Just a minute ago, Mohammed Baqir Qalibaf and also the Foreign Minister Abbas Araqdi and also the Speaker of the Parliament, they all speak about the new phase of the Strait of Hormuz. They are saying that we have the sovereignty, we controlling this most strategic choke point, and if you want to go further in the negotiations, we have to come to the table and discuss this new phase of the Strait of Hormuz.
Amagdad Al-Rohain in Tehran, thank you very much. We're going to go back to Alan at the White House. Donald Trump, I understand, has been talking to the Russian president, Vladimir Putin. Russian, of course, is one of Iran's allies. Any idea what was discussed in that call?
Well, just to touch very briefly on what's been said from Tehran, the idea that Iran having sovereignty over the Strait of Hormuz is another red line for the Americans. They've said that that simply cannot happen. This is an international waterway and should be treated as such. And as we say, the Strait of Hormuz is going to be one of the issues that Donald Trump will talk about with his national security team. As for his discussions with Vladimir Putin, he revealed in the Oval Office on Thursday that he'd had a phone call with him. Vladimir Putin offered to help with a ceasefire with Iran. We know that Russia has very close links with Tehran. Donald Trump said he'd be more interested in getting a ceasefire with Russia and Ukraine. So it seems that Donald Trump almost, but not quite, treated it as a joke, that he thinks that Russia has got other issues to deal with. He did talk again about how they destroyed the Iranian Air Force, how they destroyed the Iranian Navy, how their missile defences were all but gone, how they'd impacted ballistic missile programs. All of these things Donald Trump keeps repeating because he wants to sell this as a big win for the United States. One thing that will trouble him is the high price of oil. It's reached a peak highest price in 4 years, and that's reflected on the forecourts of the petrol stations here in the United States, where the cost of filling your car is now at its highest level in 4.5 years as well. So Donald Trump is aware of the economic pressure. He says he's under no pressure to get a deal. He's putting pressure on the Iranians to come to the table. But clearly there are options to try and get this, to bring it to a conclusion sooner rather than later.
That's Al Jazeera's chief US correspondent, Alan Fisher at the White House. Thank you very much, Alan. Well, the crisis in the Strait of Hormuz is fast becoming a political liability at home for Donald Trump, as Alan was just describing. As the war with Iran pushes up the energy prices and fuels economic anxiety, new polls suggest the president is facing growing public frustration. Bill Lavelle reports from the Republican stronghold of Pasco County in Florida.
The votes poured in for President Trump here in Pasco County, Florida, back in 2024. 18 months later, is that love still felt to the same degree? Well, the jury is out.
Lower taxes, make gas cheaper, and all this other bullshit. He ain't done none of it.
Everybody just needs to work together, not against each other.
I'm not for the stuff that's going on, but it is what it is.
For President Trump, the political cost of the war in Iran is getting harder to ignore. Energy prices have been soaring, driving up costs, squeezing household budgets. And that is not just here in Florida, which coincidentally is President Trump's home state, but across America. The White House being blamed for those historic low approval ratings of the president when it comes to the economy. Just take a look at these numbers. Last month, his approval dropped to 27%. That is lower than at any time during his first administration. His overall approval among voters dropping from 56% when he re-entered the Oval Office last year to now around 45%. And it's even worse at Fox, his favourite network, which says only 42% of voters are happy with him. It was seen as one of President Trump's strong points during the election campaign. Remember this.
Groceries, cars, everything. We're going to get the prices down.
But now it is that same issue, the money in people's pockets, those everyday costs that are hitting Americans. Groceries, healthcare and housing, the top concerns, and of course, gas prices. Because that is a big barometer in car-loving America, not just petrol at the pump, but fuel up there too. Flight prices are through the roof because of a shortage of jet fuel due to the blockade of the Strait of Hormuz. Schools finish for summer in the next few weeks. The rising costs mean fewer holidays and more staycations. More than 3/4 of registered voters hold the president responsible. More than half of Republicans, his own supporters, do too. And crucially, 82% of independents, who make up nearly half of the electorate now. I say crucial because there are important elections in November, the midterms, and many House Republicans are worried that they're going to lose their jobs because voters blame them for the economy, not the president.
Take all the people out of Congress and the Senate that aren't doing what they need to do and let them go ahead and figure out how they're going to pay for their medical care.
Do you think it would affect your vote? What's happening with it?
No, I don't think so. I think it's just a sign of the times and how things roll.
There is perhaps some good news for the president, some green shoots of positivity. Support for the war is up, but it is a tiny uptick. 45% of Americans support military force against Iran.
Well, that continued to the upside, right? So I just got to zoom in on this real quick, guys. So the high, 27,414. Yesterday's daily candle, right? So you got 414 as the high. We know we had FOMC yesterday as well, chat. You got the low of yesterday's daily candle, 27,094. So I love to map out the previous daily candles high and low, and that just gives you a point of reference where you kind of know if we are kind of hanging out inside of yesterday's daily candle range, or are we expanding in either direction, right? So there it is. We got the daily candle high and low mapped out, chat, for yesterday. We are currently above it, sitting at 27,503. So I do see on the hourly chart, this is the hourly chart that we're looking at. Man, I mean, I hate to say it, chat, but we've had quite a few bullish candles. Oh, man. Quite a few bullish candles for the last, for multiple hours since 2 a.m. 7. Cray. So for the last 7 hours, we've had bullish candles on the 1 hour chart, chat. So is there a need for a pullback? That's the question of the day. So current candle is bearish at the moment. So maybe we get some kind of pullback towards 400 level and then maybe an expansion higher. We know that we got highs sitting here from yesterday, chat. 27,622.25. So there is room to the upside if the bulls get the party, keep the party going. However, I would love some kind of pullback, to be honest, before the expansion higher, chat, after having 7 hours of basically bullish candles. Now these candles down here had some had a bit of a struggle, right? You got wicks top and the bottom from basically 3 a.m. going for it, right, for 3 hours, but you still would probably anticipate some kind of retracement to the downside. So we're gonna find out either way. We're gonna see if we can make a little money. If you haven't already, guys, do me a solid, hit the like button. If you're not subscribed to the channel, you know what to do. You checking candles at 2 a.m. I'm referencing candles at 2 a.m. because you're looking at what price has done. All right, how price has reacted. And you've had 7 bullish candles since 2 a.m., sir. That's important information to know, that we've had basically 7 hours of bullish candles, right, on a 1 hour chart. Doesn't mean that we can't continue to the upside, but you need to reference that, because a lot of times you will get some kind of pullback. even if they're going to continue higher. So we're gonna drop lost in space. Nah, the past means nothing in trading. Haha. Yeah, I know, right? It's kind of funny how people like they get all they get all fired up, chat, when you say certain things, right? You just need to kind of reference, and we'll see what happens. We're gonna drop a poll in the chat. Don't you worry. We're gonna see how you guys are feeling out there. See. Take a pulse check of the chat. We're gonna give you 3 options as always, chat. We like to give you options around here. It's always fun to get the party started. So we got the poll rocking. Get your votes in, chat. I'm very curious today to see how this is gonna play out. And I want to know how you guys are feeling out there. So we got 2,600 people tuned into the show, chat. Almost 27. We're going to ramp up here in the next 10 to 15 minutes. Make no mistake about it. So if you haven't already, do me a solid, hit the like button, guys. If you're not subscribed to the channel, you know what to do. We rock out no later than 9 a.m. Monday through Friday trying to make a little money. So we got to keep the streak alive of having 1,000+ likes before 9:30, chat. So you got 3 options in the poll. Pump, dump, or I'm confused. So because we know that there's some people that they don't know what's gonna happen. We don't know what's gonna happen, chat. But it's good to have some kind of, right? You want to have some kind of idea of what the market has done. And we're looking to join the momentum either direction. So I don't really care if the market is bullish or bearish. As a momentum trader, I'm just trying to join the party in the direction of the momentum. So I'm still confused. Oh, man. So this daily candle does have quite a bit of, current daily candle has quite a bit of bullish momentum, chat. Right? A lot of bullish momentum on the daily candle. So that is very interesting. Just need to see if we can keep it going to the upside. You've had a crazy grind, right? Higher highs and higher lows pretty much forming on the 5-minute chart. So this is the area that we need to be cautious of up here, chat. So $27,620 area. Those are previous highs that were put in. So we'll see as we get a little closer how the price action starts to form out. It's the end of the month. Does that mean that people will be taking profit? I mean, we're gonna find out. We're gonna find out. Pump and dump. Maybe. I think it's smart to be patient. We know that it's been some crazy movement, chat, over the last few days, so got to be smart. Let the market open up, I think, do its thing, and then I'm going to try to join the momentum in either direction. What a crazy, I mean, you had FOMC and the crazy earnings, chat. That's basically, I mean, we talked about it yesterday. There's going to be some fireworks, and we definitely got fireworks, right? If you missed yesterday's, what I'm referring to, so this was that 4 o'clock 5-minute candle. You had a long wick top and a bottom, and then you had some crazy movement, chat, right? Just back and forth price action. Look at the bottom wick on this candle. 100-point bottom wick. Just all kind of craziness going on with the earnings printing. $4.10. Because you had earnings dropping at 405, like 410, right? Here's a 200, almost 200-point 5-minute candle. The next candle had the retracement pushed up, right? 420, you had another pump to the upside. So, let's see what we get today. So Apex chat, we talked about it yesterday. We know we had some degens in the chat. Apex is 90% off using the code PW, chat. You got options. You got end of day drawdown and you have trailing drawdown. One of the major advantages that people love clearly about Apex was you're able to trade 20 accounts. You're able to get 20 accounts, chat. And now with the end of day drawdown accounts as an option, why not? Use the code PW. You already know. So we had this, we talked about this yesterday, chat, but we'll do a quick rundown on the Apex end of day drawdown account, because we know that very popular at the moment, right? So you got the 50K account, the profit target remains the same as the trailing drawdown accounts, $3,000 end of day drawdown, $2,000, but you do have a daily loss limit, chat, of $1,000, right? So now there's no consistency rule in the eval phase. Once you're funded, you got a 50% consistency rule. So if you're looking to take the $1,500 payout per account on Apex 50K end of day drawdown accounts, you need to make $3,600, right? $3,600, guys. But you can actually have your biggest day can't be more than 1,800, right? If you want to stay within that 50% consistency rule. 30 days to pass the evaluation, and then you got the monthly PA as well, right? So just be mindful of that. So Apex 90% off using the code PW. You already know. So 777 million guys paid out since 2022. That's great with Lil Ray Ray. I think that definitely qualifies, chat. You gotta love it. Yeah, there's still a lifetime PA fee. Yes. You have 30 days on the evaluation. That's the difference now, right? On the new accounts, you have so if you're not trading a legacy account, you have 30 days basically to pass the evaluation, and you have 7 days to activate it after you pass the evaluation, chat. Right? So when you pass the evaluation, you got 7 calendar days to activate. So we're getting ready here. We got less than 3 minutes, guys. 2 minutes and 10 seconds here. We're gonna finalize the poll. You got about 10 seconds to get your votes in for the poll. Right now, 43% feel like we're going up at market open. You got 38% feel like we're gonna dump, and then you got 19% that are still confused, chat. So if you haven't already, do me a solid, guys. Hit the like button. If you're not subscribed, you know what to do. So we're ramping up. We got 3,900 people, guys. Hit the like button. We got to keep the streak alive of 1,000 likes before 9:30, chat. We're sitting at 754 likes. That's cray with Lil Ray Ray. So do me a solid, guys. Hit the like button. We got to get the party started. Come on, man. Come on, man. All right, we're going to finalize the poll here because you have about a minute until market opens up. And you got your results. 43% feeling like we're going to pump. 38% we're going to dump. And then 19% feeling like we're like they're confused, guys. So there it is. There's your poll. Trying to hit 1,000 likes, guys. We're almost there. We're at 990 likes. We need 10 more likes to hit 1,000, guys. Come on, man. As we get ramped up here for market open. All right, looks like we hit 1,000 likes, guys. So the streak remains alive. I appreciate the support. Let's keep the party going. All right, so market is open, chat, and you got a straight down reaction here. $27,458. Kind of, you know, a lot of bearish momentum kind of stepping in here to the downside. And you do have that 27,414 level kind of sitting there, right? Which we know is yesterday's daily candles high. So we're retracing to that level, guys, pretty quickly there. Massive drop right at the open. Market hasn't even been open. I mean, you got the first minute. That was the first minute, right? All right, so there's a top. Yesterday's daily candle. Yeah, this is a flush McGush here, chat, to the downside. Getting a flush McGush. So let's see how this plays out. For shorts here, guys. So shorts are printing. There is 27,392 straight down. Manipulation? Yeah, maybe. We're gonna find out. So keep in mind now, this is the daily chart, right? Kind of having this retracement back down, chat. So let's see how this plays. You got no top wick on the current 5-minute candle. About a minute and 50 seconds left. Pretty drastic downward momentum there, about 104 points, right? Starting to bounce back up. Now, what's very interesting here, Chad, is that we're right at the 14 EMA on the 1-hour chart, right? This is the 1-hour chart's 14 EMA, 27,386. So definitely a lot of selling pressure here, kind of stepping in. Got the 5-minute ORB that's going to be set up here in about a minute. So we're going to start mapping out the high and low. And this is a flush McGush. So the high so far, 27,491.50. $341.25 is the low. So far, right? I got about 10 seconds left here, chat. Crazy move to the downside here. 5-minute chart. All right, here's your 5-minute ORB. It is set. So you would expect maybe a swipe of the low and then a push up. Push back up here. So we just swiped the low, maybe a push back up towards 388. 200 EMA, guys. 5-minute chart. Pretty drastic flush. So you would have to be quick on the trigger, chat, right? For expecting like a pop here to 389 or 390, possibly, right? You got a bottom wick on the current 5-minute candle, but let's see how this plays, because the market clearly at the moment is super bearish, right? Super bearish. So let's see if we can get back above 350 area. Could be looking at 390. Trend is your friend though, right? And right now there's a lot of bearish momentum, so but the market loves to retrace to these EMAs, so keep an eye out here for a possibility of a push up here to about 390. Chat, got to be quick on the trigger. So I'm trying that long. And this account's not even. Hold on 1 second here, chat. We got 26. All right, there it is. That's over 15 points. That's 20 points, guys. Push back up, right? So got to be smart here, though. You had a quick pop of about 20 points. And you got the retracement already, right? So pretty quick kind of retracement there. So if you took it and you're able to bag it, congrats. I actually wanted more upside, and we're not going to get it now, right? So you gotta love it. So I'm gonna scrap that, guys. I had the 20 points, and if you took it, congrats. But you got more downside, so I had to close that trade. So we'll see what else I can get here. The momentum obviously is to the downside here. We had a break of the ORB low, had a quick like 20 plus points. I know a few of you probably caught it, but by the time I switched over, it was already dropping back the opposite direction. So we'll see if I can catch another setup here. And the market is clearly, the downtrend is strong here, guys. Right? The downtrend is strong. So that was just a quick momentum trade. It had to be quick to the trigger to basically kind of lock in a profit there of about 30 points. So it is what it is. Beauty of it is that it looks like there's going to be a lot of volatility in the market. So we'll see if we can catch another setup here. Nice gap. Yeah, it was pretty, right? I mean, you had a quick, very quick, and it's a little, you got 30 seconds left on the current 5-minute candle, chat, and you're kind of watching to see how this plays out. We're closing under the ORB, obviously, at the moment, so that's still bearish. I have, so we'll see how this closes out in the next 12 seconds. All right, so more downside, chat. She gone. All right, so this 15-minute candle, ORB, right? It's kind of setting up to be a monster flush. I mean, this is pretty drastic here, right? To the downside, chat, from 491. You're talking a 218-point drop. Higher time frame is super heavy as well. So, right, this is your 1 hour candle, super heavy. So they're gonna flush Magush. Continuation, right? You got to 27,089. That's the closest level of support on the 1 hour chart down here, chat, right? So you're kind of looking at this level to see if it holds. If they lose that level, could be looking at 27,094. All right, so push back up here. We got a minute and 40 seconds left, guys, for the 15-minute ORB to be set. We know that it's super bearish. Gonna start mapping this out. So the low, 27,271. So there's your ORB 15-minute candle range, kind of setting up here, getting a bit of a pushback to the upside. Had a lot of selling pressure in the market. $220 points. So let's see how this plays. Push right back up. All right, so 15-minute ORB is going to be set here, guys, in about 10 seconds. So we had the first trade that was you were up about 20 points very quickly, and you had a retracement back down. So now we're kind of waiting to see how this plays, right? 15-minute ORB set, super bearish. No top wick on the current on that 15-minute candle. 271 is the low of the range. So we don't have red folder news today, chat. We got Chicago PMI actually 9:45, which is now, and then you have CB leading index at 10 o'clock, natural gas storage at 10:30. So quite the range. Probably, I think, one of the biggest ranges that we've seen in a while on NQ at the open, to be honest, right? Over 200 point range. So I guess the question is going to be now, is 271 going to hold, right? And be basically the low that kind of holds up, and then it spin back to the upside. Basically on a 15-minute chart, dig into this wick the 15-minute opening range candle's wick. And then it span back up. You got the lows here already established. So now, if you're a bull, you don't want 271 to get taken out, chat. You want that to be basically the low of this session, right? And then we basically span back out of this to the upside. It will continue down. Yeah, maybe. You need to swipe those previous lows, though, for that to happen. So we know that we've had a lot of selling pressure. So the funny thing is we just wiped out all those 1 hour candles that we were talking about, chat. We wiped out 1, 2, 3, 4. 5 of those candles, 5 of the 7 candles lows we took out in 1 1 hour candle. So that is a lot of lows that got swiped on a higher time frame. If you haven't already, chat, do me a solid, hit the like button. If you're not subscribed, you know what to do. Got to keep the party alive. Got to keep the streak rolling. We're at 1,200 likes, guys. We can do better than that. Got to get to 2,000 plus. You got Apex 90% off using the code PW. $27,239 is the target. I mean, I got that levels mapped out on my chart, right? These lows down here could get hit, but you got 10 minutes left on the current 1 hour candle, chat. Let's see how this forms out, because could be forming some kind of bottom here. So if we're able to get back above 366, you could be targeting 414 or higher, chat, on a V-shaped recovery. And so far that low is holding at the moment, right? So that 271 low, ORB low, is holding at the moment. So question is 290 area, chat. 290 is an area that you're watching, right? Can we stay above 290 for the longs for recovery? Or is that pump, is that it? Because we know we've had a lot of bullish momentum in the market. And a nice size healthy retracement clearly has occurred on a higher time frame. So swiped out 5 previous 1 hour candle lows. That is a lot. But it could be more in the tank here for downside momentum. Not looking great for the bulls at the moment. Looking heavy. Looking a little rollover here, chat. So let's see if we break these lows, right? So if we break the lows, This if we lose the lows with momentum, chat, below 271, got to be targeting lower 200s. I mean, that's just what it is. So we'll see how this plays out here. All right. So the shorts bears are very aggressive here, chat, right? So you're looking to see how can they hold this level, right? Or is it just going to be a swipe and then a push right back up, right? Off the ORB low, because we just put in a lower low. So it's shaping up to be like one of those days where you get the low put in, you get a reaction right back up. About a minute, 20 seconds left. Current 5-minute candle. All right, so I'm trying to short here, guys. Entry was 259. So let's see if we get the momentum here to the downside. On this account, right? So this is a Lucid Flex account. We are getting some choppity chop here. All right, that's over. That's over 5 points. All right, guys, there it is. There was right at 15 points. There it is. You gotta love it. I won at 189, chat, to the downside. All right, there's a little bit more. There's 25 points, guys. Let's go, baby. Come on, guys. We'll take it off. There's a 25-point winner. You gotta love it. Drop a W in the chat if you took the short there. You gotta love that. 25 plus points on the downside, guys. Saw the momentum building up. Had to take the trade. Make no mistake about it. Come on, man. Come on, man. $4,500 for your combine. Nice. I'm going to Olive Garden. Oh, man. Yeah, so I want to see how this hourly candle closes, chat. I want to see how this hourly candle closes out, to be honest. So, and the reason why is because you got less than, I mean, it's a lot of bearish momentum, chat, right? A lot of bearish momentum on a 1 hour candle. I mean, this thing is cray with Lil Ray Ray. But we know that we got lows. Yesterday's low, 27,094, chat. So the thought process here is, hey, if it's gonna be a nice trend day to the downside, there should be more entries. We just had a close underneath basically the ORB, and you got 3 minutes left on the current 1 hour candle. So you got an area mapped out down here. The low of the gray box is 27,174, chat. So that could be an area of interest. So we're going to find out either way. If you haven't already, do me a solid, guys. Hit the like button. If you're not subscribed, you know what to do. We just out here trying to make a little money. Trying to get to 2,000 plus likes. Got to keep the streak alive of 2,000 plus likes on the AM show chat. Come on, man. And you're getting more of the flush McGush here to the downside, chat. Into the box. Man. Couldn't even switch over. So there's the drop there, chat. Keep an eye out for 27,176. Bottom of that box. You just hit it. It's kind of funny. We've been hitting these targets all week, chat. All week long. Been mapping out these support and resistance level. They've been getting hit. So if you took the short there and you held it, we just got to 27,202. So got multiple accounts I'm working on here, chat. Lucid Flex accounts, obviously, we talked about. Right, so this account here is up $1,620. Had a trade last night, obviously caught some momentum this morning. This account's up $1,620. And we'll see what else we can get. As we get close to this 1 hour candle closing out. What up, D? Just tapping in. What did I miss? Yeah, we just had a nice short 25 plus points to the downside. Got a lot of momentum to the downside here, obviously on the 1 hour chart. And we're waiting for this 1 hour candle to close. So that way, you know, I want to see a retracement, guys. And then if we're going to, if we're really gonna flush, hey, let this 1 hour candle close out. You get the next candle pushes up, form some kind of top wick, and then we expand lower to the downside towards 27,094. Here's a new candle open. One hour chart. The last time we tapped this box, chat, we did have a bullish reaction, right back the opposite direction. That was 2 a.m. We had a bullish reaction right back up off these levels. So is that going to happen today? That's the question, right? During this session. $15-minute chart. I mean, they're trying. Wouldn't be surprised if we get a pop here, guys. Even if they're going to drop it lower, right? You get some kind of pop and then maybe some kind of retracement. $223. Would I recommend a 25K or a 50K account for beginners? Yeah, I would be honest and tell you that Probably the 50K account, only because you got a little bit more wiggle room from a drawdown standpoint, right? You get $2,000 to draw down, so obviously use the code PW. There's the pushback up, chat. Not surprised. This is the first 5-minute candle of the 1 hour chart. 1 hour new candle that just opened up, as well as the 4 hour, right? So got to be mindful of that. Still early. Doesn't mean that the market has shifted bullish as of yet, but keep in mind that we did have a bullish reaction the last time we tapped inside of that box. And this is kind of nasty, chat, if you kind of look at it, right? I mean, look at the barcode. You gotta love it. A lot of expansion, but it's still kind of like stuck in a range, right? Believe it or not, that's the funny part. So this is your 5-minute chart. And you can see how you got a doji candle and then a push right back up. About a 68-point push. Can you put the background time frame on the chart? It says it on the chart. If you look at underneath the time, it says 5 minute. This is a 5-minute candle. I don't know what else you want me to do. Literally, if you look at where it says live and it has the timestamp, you should be able to see the time. This is the 5-minute chart. So you can also see the timer on the right-hand side of the screen, the countdown. You can tell what time frame I'm on by looking at the countdown on the candle, right? There's literally underneath the price on the right-hand side of the screen, 27,293. You got 18 seconds left. This is the 5-minute chart, right? So and when the next candle opens, you're going to see it says 5 minutes. You can see it on the screen on the far left as well. Yeah, that's what I was saying. I mean, it's always, you got to love it. All right, so pretty bullish reaction there, chat, off that support level, right back up. If we're able to pop 27,302, we could be targeting the 14 EMA sitting at 27,350 area, 355. So, you know, the question is, was that enough bearish momentum for the bulls to say, no, we're not having that, and we're headed back up? That's the question. Daily chart does have a long top wick. Doesn't look great at all. This is a new 4-hour chart, chat. The problem is now, why this is a little bit more difficult is because that top wick on the previous 4-hour candle, chat, is sitting all the way at 27,550, right? So that's a lot of room to the upside if they're gonna have a deeper retracement. So you're being mindful that you would want to start seeing previous candles lows get taken before probably wanting to get short here, because there's so much room to the upside because of the top wick on the previous higher time frame candle, right? So you get back below 236, I think you're looking for more shorts to the downside, targeting lower 170, 27,170. But if we can't break below previous 5-minute candles low, then you're looking at potentially a pop towards 27,350 on the 5-minute chart. So there's a reaction right back down at the moment. So let's see how this plays out, chat. Yeah, seconds can't be added, guys. Come on, man. Chat. If you are, I mean, I'm literally, you can see the time frame. I'm calling out the time frame. You see a timer on the right-hand side of the screen. You know what time frame it is because you see the timer. That's it, chat. Like, we're not adding seconds and all this stuff to the chart. We're not, it's not happening. So it's not happening. I can tell you that right now. I'm out of that long D money for another $5 grand. Nice. Yeah, see, all right. So now you see, chat, how we just broke previous candles low. So bears are back in control now, right, to the downside. So you're targeting, could be targeting down here towards 27,176, chat. We just lost that low. That's not great for the bulls, right? We should have held that if we were going to push higher. You're targeting down here towards 175. Don't say I didn't tell you, chat. Somebody's going to say I didn't tell them, but you know what? What did we do? There's a quick trade. 223. Let me flip to this. Come on, guys. Right, there's a quick trade there, guys. Called it out to you to the downside. Don't say I didn't tell you. You had time to get in. Was up by almost 20 points and flipped over, so... All right, there it is. There's 15 points plus. We're going to scrap that, guys. We'll take it. You had about 20 points on that drop, in all honesty, chat, to the downside. So you had to be quick. Drop a W in the chat if you took the shorts. Literally talked through that trade. So I said if we lose the previous 5-minute candles low, then you're looking for new lows. You had over 20 points on that drop, chat. You gotta love it. Now maybe you get some kind of retracement up, guys, and then you get more selling pressure to the downside. All right, 27,215. Look out to the bottom of the box, chat. Don't say I didn't tell you. Because when prices and momentum, support and resistance levels tend to hold, and you could be looking at 176 or lower. Make no mistake about it. All right, so it's trying here. $27,214. Is a support level, chat. We know that we bounced out of this level already, so you're kind of watching to see how this plays. Pushed it a little too much today. Green, $800 times 5. Red, 1,005. Locked out. Green, 1,000. Nice. Yeah, this level is they're fighting at this level, chat. Right? You're having a battle at this level inside of this gray box. So if you remember, drew the price level out from the 1 hour chart. This was a support level at 2 a.m. Overnight. And you had quite the push to the upside. So have to see what happens now. Shout out to Tanner for the $5 tip. D, any news coming out? Yeah, you had news already. We talked through it as always, right? You had news that came out. Red folder. You had red folder at 8:30, Chad. Advanced GDP, core PCE, and then you had unemployment, your typical unemployment, which for some reason now they're not. So the unemployment claims they're not showing that as red folder anymore, which is a little interesting, chat. But so there's no more news on the horizon here. That does not mean that Trump won't come out and say something. Look at the bullish reaction right back up, guys, once again, off that 200 level. So let's see how this plays. It's weekly unemployment, not monthly. Yeah, but it used to be red folder. So it was a red folder event every week for unemployment claims. Trust me. I've been looking at it for the last 10 years. It used to be a red number. It used to be red folder. So, but not anymore. So it is what it is. Just funny how, because the thing is with that number, chat, like it's kind of like sometimes it had an impact on the market, sometimes it didn't, in all honesty, right? So crashed to 27,000, maybe. I mean, you kind of see how we're building out for lower lows, it looks like. So if we break 200 level, chat, very quickly down possibly to 172 or lower, right? That's the thing. We need to break those lows for that to happen. And I think momentum will pick up pretty quickly to the downside. But you got to be cautious here because you got a bit of an equal low. So you want momentum to kind of pick up quickly here and flush 200. And then head to new lows. And there it is, right? So there's 195. You're looking at 175 or lower here, chat, to the downside. Make no mistake about it. Just lost those lows. If you listen to what Deep Money talks about, chat, it would be hard for me to think that you don't make the dinero, but that's just me. Maybe I'm biased, but there it is, 27,168. You gotta love it. So now, yeah, we just lost that box, guys, to the downside. 27,100 level could be in play here. Make no mistake about it. You got a ton of time left on the current 5-minute candle. Drop a W in the chat if you took the shorts there. You just got paid. You just got paid and it's not Friday. So you gotta love it. So you had the break of 200 level, chat. I literally said clearly that if we lose 200, you're going to get to the bottom of that box. We just touched 163. So that's a 35-point drop off the lows to the downside. Do me a solid if you haven't already, chat. Hit the like button. If you're not subscribed, you know what to do. Got to get over 2,000 likes, chat. We're dropping a lot of sauce here. And we're at 1,500 likes, chat. That is. I'm not gonna lie. I'm a little disappointed there that we're not at 2,000 plus likes, chat. Do me a solid if you haven't already. Hit the like button. If you're not subscribed, you know what to do. You got Apex, 90% off, chat. Trade up to 20 accounts. You got end of day drawdown as an option. We got options around here, that's for sure. Using the code PW. Could not figure out why my realized P&L was low. Then figured out the short trade was still open. Yeah, that happens. Don't you hate when that it's always something, chat, right? Sometimes you kind of feel like you're like, man, like what is going on? Leave an order up and running, and I've done it all, chat. Trust me, I've done it all. D-Buddy, do you use ATM or do you use market order scalps? Yeah, typically Kelly Jones, it's market order. If I'm scalping, I'm just gonna hit buy market or sell market, to be honest with you. You're not gonna have time, right? Because some of these with NQ, if prices and momentum, you know, I'm trying to get in and get out, so. King Delta just passed my first Apex account challenge on the first try. LOL. Thanks, D Money, for influencing me to try. Hey, congrats. Now the party starts, right? Once you're funded. Back up we go. Possibly. So PW always laughs at my responses, chat, because I'm like, yeah, maybe, or possibly, right? Because anything's possible in the market, but what I'll tell you is that for bulls, you need to see previous candles highs get broken. Until that starts happening, chat, you are looking for downside momentum to continue, right? So just be mindful of that. That's how you stay with the trend, right? You stay with the trend by basically if you're in a downtrend market with a lot of bearish momentum, you are looking for continuation, and you're looking for lower highs and lower lows. So I'm not looking for longs down here when we just broke a support level, right? We swiped it and we pushed back up. Now, does that mean that we can't have a recovery? Absolutely not. It doesn't mean we can't have it. Anything's possible in the market. We could easily, you know, pop 1,000 points from here. However, for me to want to get it to be interested in that, I need to see previous candles highs get taken out for me to want to join longs. Right? You need to start seeing bullish momentum pick up on the lower time frame. Other than that, you're looking at simply a retracement possibly, and price is going to continue down. So you're going to end up getting chopped because you went against the trend, right? So just be mindful of that. And if it's not clear price action, there's nothing wrong with waiting for something more convincing in the market to get you to want to join. So my 2 cents. And that's just how the market kind of works, chat, right? Like, I mean, it's 1 hour candle right now, just to give you perspective, it is trying to push, right? You got nice bottom wick. You had a swipe of the previous 1 hour candle's low. You had a swipe of the support area to the downside, and then a push right back up. So could be smart to be patient now. Called out multiple winning trades, chat. So there's nothing wrong with being patient and seeing how the market reacts. It's not even 10:30 yet, so. How did you know it would drop from 200 with zero drawdown? So basically, yeah, you don't know if there's going to be zero drawdown, right? That's like, it's impossible to know that. But when you saw price kind of building up with momentum, you are trying to join that direction. And you're looking at previous candles lows, and you're a lot of times those previous candles lows are an indication that you're right. When they get taken, you're going to get some momentum that kind of steps into the market. That's just how price works, right? How the market works. So I saw the momentum candle here, 10:05, right? And then you figured you had a retracement back up, and then once we lost that level, you would get momentum stepping into the market. Will that always work? Absolutely not, right? Nothing's 100% in trading, but you're playing probabilities, to be honest. Give me 1 second here, chat. All right, so I'm trying, got to keep you guys up to speed here. Why not? We got my Warbucks equity account, guys, that I'm shorting Nvidia on. I'm trying to ride this volatility to the downside. Make no mistake about it here, chat. So we'll see what happens. We're gonna let the position ride. You're able to trade equities with Warbucks, and I am short in my Warbucks account. Make no mistake about it, guys. Looking for new lows down here below 199 on Nvidia. Why not? Right? Because typically you get downside momentum on NQ. You get the same on Nvidia, chat. And we are printing here on our Warbucks account. You're able to trade equities as cheap as $36 with a 5K account. Make no mistake about it. We're going to let it ride to the downside here, guys. I do feel like that low is going to get taken out below 199.44. So we'll let it ride. We'll keep an eye on it, guys. Warbucks, BTC.com. We got you covered. We got equities. We got crypto. And as you can see, I'm printing here to the downside, chat. You got to love it. Make no mistake about it. There it is. So we're close to getting that low swipe, guys. So we're going to let it kind of ride out here because I do think there's going to be more downside momentum stepping in. Make no mistake about it. Today's a bloodbath in the market, guys. So why not? Let's get the party started. as NQ also sells off to the downside. We're back at 27,198. You all right? Oh, I appreciate it. Thank you. All right, cool. All right, so what do we got? Well, price is having a hard time kind of breaking down from 27,000. Need to, you know, in my opinion, we need to stay under 200, chat, for the bears, right? You want price back under 200, because if you're able to lose 200 again and you get back below these lows, 27,162, you're headed towards 27,100 or lower. So prices, they're not giving up. The bulls are fighting a battle here. Look at the bottom wick currently forming on a 5-minute chart, chat. for a continuation up. So just be mindful of that, chat. Maybe we get a pop up here to like 415 and then you get the retracement down. Who knows? It gets a little riskier the higher we go, chat, without a decent sized pullback. All right, so we just hit 27,409, guys, right? So you just hit 409. Got within 5 points, 6 points of that 414 area. And the 414, that's not a made-up number, chat. That's actually yesterday's daily candles high. Make no mistake about it. Somebody said I'm in at 205. Do I add? I would say probably not. You know, I think it's probably, you know, like I said, if we pop those highs, maybe you get the pullback afterwards, but say be cautious. All right, so there's attempt again, guys. 414, that's the area you're looking out for. See if it gets breached to the upside, right? There it is. So that's your daily candle level that just got tapped, chat. So now you're looking for, is that where the pullback's gonna start? Possibly to the downside. Let me check my... NVIDIA long. Yeah, it's still sitting there. So let's see. So yeah, so now you got to be careful, chat, right? Because you took out that level. If you took that trade, you actually picked up some points there, right? You had a tap of 27,415, and now you're looking for, could be the start of the retracement down, only because we just hit that daily candle high level from yesterday, chat. So just be mindful of that. Maybe we form out some kind of higher low and then we try to push higher. What is the thought process normally if the 200 EMA and the 50 cross? Yeah, so it's a soup. So whenever price crosses the 200, chat, especially on the higher time frames, that is telling you that the trend, that's a nice trend being formed, and you're definitely looking in that direction, right? So you see how once we had this 930 candle, the drop below 1450 and 200 in one single candle, that's telling you that there's a lot of bearish momentum in the market, right? And the 200 level is a trend level, meaning that typically the trend kind of stays that way for at least for a while, right, in that direction, wherever, if it's across bullish or bearish. So if you kind of measure as close as you can get from the 200 EMA on the retracement down, you had another 200 plus point drop to the downside, right? So below the EMAs, below the 200 EMA is a bearish trend, definitely for sure, right? And then above it obviously is bullish. So if price is above all three EMAs, you're looking for structure to form out for higher highs and higher lows on continuation to the upside. So you will be watching here because, yeah, you don't want price now back below 27,355, guys, if the longs are going to continue to the upside. I'm not noticing when the 14 and 50 cross, you get a big old, oh, you're noticing that you get a big old bazooka? Yeah, you don't always get a large bazooka candle, but in this case, you did get it, right? You did get, but obviously, chat, make no mistake about it, that 200 EMA holds a lot more weight than the 14 and 50, right? Just because of it's a higher EMA, right? It's a longer period, so keep that in mind. All right, here's the pop here. Got a doji candle that formed, so that's a little interesting that it formed right below that daily candle level, chat. So you start losing these lows below 371, could get some bearish momentum kind of stepping back into the market. So you're watching here to see how this plays. Could be the start of a healthy retracement. So let's see how this plays out, chat. Gotta hit the restroom. I'll be right back. Hang tight. Oh man. Oh man. Definitely dropping a little Ray Ray. No, I did not. So guys, I had a little cheese Danish there. Oh man, had to squeeze it in. Why not? Snacking with FedEx. Oh, you gotta love it. Hey D, what playlist is this? Yeah, this is deep focus music productivity on YouTube. Just pick random playlist, chat. Try to mix it up a little bit. Getting a bit of a rejection here off of those highs up there. Daily chart, guys. Could be aiming towards the 14 EMA. 27,369. Keep that in mind, guys, right? Don't say I didn't tell you. Because this is, keep in mind, we have the current 1 hour candle has no bottom wick, very small bottom wick. So that's not great when you see that, chat. A lot of times you'll get a recovery, kind of push down, form out some kind of higher low, and then we push higher. So, but even from there, about a 23-point drop to the downside. So if you get to the 14 EMA, or sorry, 200 EMA, you're sitting at 27,369. If they really want a deeper retracement, it could be down to 27,344. Kind of building out. So is this going to pull back or what? I mean, you're getting some of it now. I would anticipate 369 level in play here, chat. To the downside. Right? That's what it's shaping up to look like. So if you, and that's just going off of, you got highs up here, lower high, current lower high on the current 5-minute candle as well. So we could be in the midst of us starting to get some kind of pullback. This is your 15-minute chart bouncing right now at the 50 EMA. So you need to lose that 50 EMA on the 15-minute chart for the momentum to kind of pick up to the downside. Did you wash your hands after your little Ray Ray? Yeah, I didn't do the little Ray Ray, but D Money always washes his hands. Trust me. Make no mistake about it. All right, push back up here, right? So you got down to 376. You had about a 15-point drop, and then you had to push right back up. So let's see how this plays out, chat. And that might be it. That might be the kind of day that we have where now, since we've had a lot of selling pressure, you get the bottom wicks put in. And then you just get expansion higher, right? So if you're a bull, you want us back above 410 with momentum, right? And you're targeting for new highs up here above probably like 450 to 500 level. So let's see if this holds. We're going to find out, chat. If you haven't already, do me a solid, hit the like button. If you're not subscribed, you know what to do. So I always like to highlight, just to make sure everybody's on the same page, that we're all looped in. You got to keep an eye out for only prop firms X account, chat. So right now, talk of the town, you do have Tradeify. You're able to buy 5 Tradeify accounts at the same time, chat, which is a game changer in the industry because we know that a lot of people have wanted that, being able to purchase multiple accounts at the same time. So 40% off at Tradeify ends tonight. Use the code PW. When you buy 5 accounts, when you buy in bulk, chat, you get a 5% discount. So you gotta love it. You got options. Make no mistake about it. Somebody said my credit card was yeah, so you're kind of watching this to see how